For those of you that are watching and are not aware of this, this is the Tommy Maroon Sports Show where we're talking sports. It's all excitement. It's me getting loud. It's me talking sports, and sports. Oh yeah, I also mentioned sports. Hence the Akron jersey, go Zips, for all you Akron students out there, like myself. Basketball team is off to a great start there, contrary to the 0-12 football season, which is good. Take CCP classes there. So we need to ask my trivia question of the week. Where did the Cavs play for their first 4 seasons of existence? Not the Richfield Coliseum, but rather the Cleveland Arena. From 1970 to 1974, the Cleveland Arena. And then Richfield from 74-94. And the Guns, or the Q, or the Rock, whatever you want to call it, here in downtown Cleveland. Probably the best place to put because downtown Cleveland, pretty beautiful. I won't lie about that. Won't deny that it's beautiful because it's beautiful. And you know what? We need to talk about high school basketball. So, we got all the scores on the screen right there from last Friday and last Saturday. Boys teams play on Fridays. Girls teams play on Saturdays. So Barberton beat Copley 74-62. Roosevelt beat Aurora 52-47. Revere beat Highland 90-55. And as you could tell, Roosevelt and Revere both undefeated. Austintown Fitch, they really snuck out with a big win against Talmadge 67-64. Brecksville continuing their undefeated season, 71-52 victory there. And of course we have Nordonia beating Hudson 48-47, good game there. Another good game was the North Royalton Twinsburg game, in which the North Royalton Purple Bears beat the Twinsburg Tigers 44-43 and still beat Wadsworth 50-48. So we got to look at the girls' scores next. Of course, Aurora beat Highland 58-56, their first loss of the season, which is kind of fortunate. But you know, there's not going to be that many losses in the future. You got to be aware of that if you're a Highland fan. Revere's playing Roosevelt. Well, they played Roosevelt last Saturday, 55-31 victory. Roosevelt looking for their first win. That'll probably happen soon. Brecksville beat Nordonia, and Nordonia handed their first loss of the season to what was at the time, winless Brecksville team, as it was a 69-28 routing. Cuyahoga Falls beat Hudson 52-44. Wadsworth beat North Royalton 45-23. Stowe is on fire, 7-0 record. They beat Twinsburg 51-38. So we got to look for what we need to look for next week, of course. And Roosevelt is off to a surprisingly hot roll now. If you remember back early on in the season, I didn't think they were going to do good. But you know what? They have been proving me wrong. And you know what? Some of the stuff I say is not always true. Like, remember what I said about Brecksville's team for football this season? Said they weren't going to do good. And they proved me wrong, winning the National Conference along with Hudson and Wadsworth. Of course, that National Conference was probably one of the most exciting things I've ever seen for high school football. 3 teams winning, what? And Brecksville has a chance to do it again, basketball. And same with Hudson and Wadsworth, you just never know. Revere ready to steamroll their next opponents. They steamrolled Highland, so they're looking to do it to their next victims. Can North Royalton stay undefeated for boys basketball? Hanging on to a 1-point win against Twinsburg. Aurora's looking to build off that upset against Highland, of course. A home win for Aurora, big win there. And of course, all Highland Hornets action, well, granted, some Highland Hornets action is on the Highland Hornets Sports Network. You need to watch this episode. Then when it's done, go on YouTube, type in Highland Hornets Sports Network. Don't worry, it pops up for you. Yes, we're that popular. And hit the subscribe button. We've already got 78 subscribers, and it continues to grow. It's a lot of excitement. We love it so much. And, of course, we do all boys home games except for the one coming up against Aurora on January the 3rd, because I will not be in the state from January 1st to the 6th. I'm going to Disney World with the Pride of Highland Marching Band, a very great marching band, just like every marching band in the Suburban League, always enjoying it. Disney World, trying to meet my idol, Florida Man. Of course, the Florida Man memes are some of my favorite. I'm a big meme guy. Cleveland Cavaliers, why not? As we got to look at the player stats, which includes Colin Sexton with 17.7 points per game. Kevin Love, 15.9 points per game, 10.6 rebounds per game. Jordan Clarkson, 14.1 points per game. Tristan Thompson, 13.3 points per game, 9.7 rebounds per game. And we got to look at struggles that have been plaguing the Cavaliers all season long. It's been nothing short of kind of ridiculous now. We start off 2-2. I know it's the first 4 games, but that is not that shabby. And then 4-5 in our first 9 games. That's not bad. I'm thinking, hey, we may win 30, 40 games. You just never know. And then we lose 6 in a row. And then we win a game. And then we lose 8 in a row. And now we've lost our last 2 games. So just in case you don't know, an incredibly bad 2-16 run. I know John Beeline's still a first-year coach. I'm going to give him time, but we'll see what happens. Trust the process. If it's worked for the Philadelphia 76ers, it might as well work for us. 11 out of our 21 losses have been by 10 points or more. And, of course, we got to start off with the Cavs against the Rockets. The Rockets won 116-110. James Harden did James Harden things. He's averaging nearly 40 points per game, and he put up 55 points. And just to show that he is not a selfish man, he had 8 assists. And Russell Westbrook, because he has averaged a triple-double in a season twice before, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Kevin Porter Jr. had 24 points for us. Colin Sexton, 18 points. We had the lead in the fourth quarter, but that crumbled and fell apart. We fell to 5-19. Houston is 16-8. They're being overshadowed by the LeBron Lakers, the Kawhi Clippers. I did not come up with the alliteration. Doncic in Dallas. Nikola and the Nuggets. I just came up with this on the fly, of course. Every team has one big player. Los Angeles Lakers have LeBron. The Clippers have Kawhi Leonard. Dallas Mavericks have Luka Doncic. The Rockets have James Harden. And, of course, you have the Denver Nuggets, who have Nikola Jokic. And, of course, the Cavs against the Spurs. The Cavs finally won. They end the 8-game winning streak. A 117-9 victory in overtime. First overtime game for the Cavs this season. Kevin Love put up 30 points, 17 rebounds. That's pretty impressive. Colin Sexton had 28 points. Jordan Clarkson had 25 points off the bench. And DeMar DeRozan had 21 points. And LaMarcus Aldridge, 18 points, 10 rebounds. And with that, we went to 6-19. The Spurs fell down to 9-15, and that playoff streak that the Spurs have had is looking in jeopardy. I know there have been 6 big teams, which include the previous 5 I mentioned in the Western Conference and the Utah Jazz too. And then there's everybody else. But still, San Antonio's had its struggles. I mean, we could all be on the Price is Right Wrong horn, otherwise known as the Golden State Warriors. Worst team in the NBA, struggling with injuries, struggling without KD. And, of course, we got to look at the Cavs against the Bucks. And Milwaukee won 125-108. It was their 18th straight victory. Of course, their winning streak came to an end a little while ago. And Giannis put up 29 points. Chris Middleton, 24. Robin Lopez, 16. Kevin Porter Jr. for the Cavs, 15 points. Kevin Love, 12 points, 10 rebounds. And we outscored the Bucks in the fourth quarter, but didn't do that much, as Milwaukee went to 24-3, and we fell down to 6-20. Then we went from Cleveland up north to Toronto. Of course, not that far of a distance from Cleveland and Toronto, contrary to what one might think, because of the fact that they are in 2 different countries. The Raptors won 113-104. 213 at the Scotiabank Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Pascal Siakam had 33 points. Of course, Pascal's been doing a great job for Toronto, filling that hole that Kawhi left when he went to LA. Norman Powell had 26 points. Kyle Lowry, 20 points, 11 assists. Colin Sexton, 25 points for the Cavs. Darius Garland, 20 points. We lost the lead early on the first, and we went to 6-21, and 18-8 went Toronto. Cavs are going to play the Hornets tonight, not the Highland Hornets. Of course, we went to the Rock, the girls' team. They won. That was a lot of fun. Of course, a lot of excitement with that team, but rather the Charlotte Hornets. So we'll see if we can hopefully win. And, of course, we can't talk about the Tommy Maroon Sports Show without referring to breaking news that was last Sunday. Corey Kluber, the two-time Cy Young winner for the Cleveland Indians, was traded to Texas. We got a prospect, and Delino DeShields Jr., a very speedy outfielder. I don't know about this. Of course, last year we saw the Indians really have a big fire sale. It resulted in a 93-win season and a disappointing collapse in mid-August and onward. So I really hope we got something going. Of course, the Indians have really had their struggles both on the field and fan base. So I really hope we trade away Corey at the right time, like what we did with Cody Allen, dropped him at the right time. Either that or he'll be like Michael Brantley, who made the World Series with Houston, Yan Gomes, who won the World Series, or Andrew Miller, who played a significant role for St. Louis. Oh, well, we'll see. Put on your Browns caps, folks, if you're still on the Browns bandwagon that was there at the beginning of the season, because it's all empty now. Baker Mayfield with a 60.1 completion percentage, 3,356 yards, and a 78.7 rating, 17 touchdowns and 17 picks. Nick Chubb, who made it to the Pro Bowl last night, 5.2 yards per carry, leads the NFL with 1,408 yards and 8 TDs. Jarvis was another Pro Bowl guy, 74 receptions, 1,018 yards and 5 touchdowns, and that is why. Just think about that. And OBJ, who I believe did not make the Pro Bowl, unfortunately, 67 receptions, 910 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Upcoming schedule analysis right here. It's Week 16 against the Ravens, Week 17 at Cincinnati to play the Bungles at beautiful Paul Brown Stadium. The Ravens are 12-2. We all know their deal. They've clinched home field advantage. They have the best quarterback in the league by miles, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can do no wrong, seemingly. He proved all the doubters wrong in his rookie season. He's been proving all the doubters wrong. He's been so popular in Baltimore. And, of course, he might be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the Ravens. He looks like it with what he's been producing. Heavyweight favorites for a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson's winning MVP, no denying it. And the Bungles on the other side, 1-13, the worst team in the NFL, and they'll most likely have the first pick. I'd go with Joe Burrow from LSU, who won Heisman last Saturday night, of course. So we'll see about that. And then the Browns against the Cardinals had me yelling at my TV on Sunday. It was ugly as anything. A 38-24 loss. The Cardinals were pounding us. They had a 6-game losing streak. They're 4-9-1 now. We are 6-8. A disappointing 6-8, may I say. And it's 2 words. Fire Freddie. There's no excuse for the talent that he has squandered all season long. Odell was supposed to be our number 1 receiver. He was supposed to be all the excitement, and he's been good, but he's been complaining how he's not the number 1 receiver. Baker has had his struggles, 17 picks. Only Jameis Winston has had more. And there's one thing, Jameis is actually one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, contrary to my Jameis nickname. That man's going to have over 5,000 passing yards. We'll see if Baker's going to get over 4,000. I kind of doubt it. I mean, look at the defense. We got lit up to Arizona. And Baker's still throwing passes that are way too high in the air for his receivers to catch. Kyler went 19-25, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Kenyon Drake, 22 carries, 137 yards, 4 touchdowns. Ridiculous. My old brother has him on his fantasy team. He was happy about it, but not happy that he lost in the playoffs. And, of course, Baker, 30 for 43, 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Nick Chubb, 17 carries, 127 yards, and 1 touchdown. Ricky Seals-Jones, 3 receptions, 29 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And, of course, this play was really frustrating, the interception. He just overthrows his target, Odell. And Odell has been complaining about how he hasn't got that much targets, and I could see why. And Cardinals held their ground at 21-10 lead at halftime. Up next is against the Ravens. We're probably going to lose that. And then Arizona against Seattle. That'll probably be a Seattle victory because Russell Wilson's been having the year of his life. I don't know what to say, folks. This might be one of the most disappointing seasons in the history of the Cleveland Browns. I had us going 10-6, Baker Mayfield going to the playoffs. And it's been way out the window. Forget about it. I know we can make the playoffs, but it is so doubtful now. I know we could sneak in if Pittsburgh has a collapse and we get all the chips to come on our side. But this was embarrassing. I had us winning the division. I think a lot of people did. Everybody had us at the Super Bowl, and Freddie Kitchens is messing it up. John Dorsey putting his trust in him and keeping him in 2020 is not the smartest idea. I mean, I know I'm not that critical, but I'm kind of frustrated. I think I speak for the entire Cleveland Browns community when I say fire Freddie and get rid of John, because this is too much. I can't take it. Dear gosh, we all thought that Chris Palmer was bad. We all thought Hugh Jackson was bad. We all thought Eric Mangini was bad. Rob Chudzinski, Mike Patton, all of those coaches, Freddie might just triumph over them because they didn't have that much talent. We have a big class team. Jarvis is in the Pro Bowl, and we have Nick Chubb. They're both in the Pro Bowl having career seasons, and we're just throwing it all away for no apparent reason. The Myles Garrett incident, that's ridiculous. It's discipline. In the words of Todd Haley, it all comes down to coaching, discipline, and he's got to mature everybody. Freddie did nothing, and the Pittsburgh started it short in Pittsburgh, Yinzer community, and they lose to the Steelers. Come on. Now you look like the bad guys. The season is over. We just lost up. Who did we lose to? The Rams? Yeah, the Rams. That was bad. Now we could have won that game. We should have beat Denver. We should have beat Arizona. We should have beat the Steelers. We look like the bad guy compared to the Steelers. So we're making the playoffs on their third-string quarterback, Devlin Duck Hodges. James Conner and Juju are battling injuries, and they're still doing a great job. Mike Tomlin is a great coach. Freddie is not. One season too many. Very little experience other than the offensive coordinator. Come on. What were they thinking? Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry if I'm sounding a little loud, but this is just utterly frustrating and disappointing. How do you mess up to the Cardinals? We almost lost to Cincinnati by 8 points. We beat them by only 8 points. I have a feeling we might lose to Cincinnati. If we go 6-10 and lose to the Bungles, Freddie better get out of here or else we're going to run him out on a rail, because this is enough. This is ridiculous. Get a coach who's actually good, who has experience, who's been on winning teams and know what it takes to win football games. Dear God, this should have been the season, and rather than me praising the Browns, how awesome they are, instead I'm complaining about how terrible of a coach Freddie Kitchens is. Oh my golly. Alrighty, so that is done with. I have a very special documentary I'm going to do soon about the Cleveland Browns, which is going to chronicleize how the struggles have been really apparent with us for a very long time. So we're going to wrap up with this trivia question revolving around Freddie's Browns. You know, if you're in a kitchen and what your bacon is burning, you might want to get out, especially when your name is Freddie. When was the last time the Browns reached the AFC Championship game? Got your answer? Well, we'll see. Till then, you've been watching Tommy Maroon Sports Show, and see you then.